The Zephyrian royal palace stretched across 17 levels of crystalline architecture, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that responded to the emotional state of its inhabitants. Today, those patterns flickered with the deep purples and grays of perpetual sorrow. Queen Insia stood at the observation deck, her forearms crossed in a gesture of protective resignation as she watched her children play in the courtyard below. The word play was generous. Her offspring moved through their activities with mechanical precision, their natural curiosity long since extinguished by betrayal after betrayal from those who were supposed to care for them. "Your Majesty," came a voice behind her. Insia's secondary eyes swiveled to observe the approach of her chief of staff, his gill slits fluttering with nervous energy. "The new maintenance worker has arrived." "The human." Insia's mandibles clicked in irritation. "Another spy, no doubt. The Galactic Council grows more creative in their attempts to infiltrate our world." She turned her primary gaze to the courtyard where her 7 children sat in perfect silence, constructing elaborate geometric patterns with their crystalline toys. No laughter, no arguments, no joy. "This one is different, Your Majesty." He requested to begin work immediately. "In the lower levels." "The lower levels?" Insia's bioluminescent patches flared brighter. "No one requests the sewage systems." Below them, a figure emerged from the palace's service entrance. The human was unremarkable by galactic standards, bipedal, single-hearted, embarrassingly fragile. He wore the standard maintenance coveralls and carried an ancient cleaning cart that wheezed and clanked with each step. What struck Insia as odd was his posture. Unlike every other being who entered their presence, he didn't cower or scheme. He simply worked. The human, Barris, according to his identification chip, began his duties in the most mundane way possible. He mopped floors, cleared air filtration systems, and hummed. The humming was what first caught the attention of Insia's youngest child. Kira, whose 4 eyes had never seen anything quite like this strange, tone-deaf creature, who seemed genuinely happy to be cleaning their waste. By the 3rd day, something unprecedented happened. Barris was replacing light panels in the children's wing when his anti-grav lifter malfunctioned. Instead of floating gracefully to the floor, it plummeted, taking the human with it. He landed in an undignified heap, arms and legs sprawled in directions that defied Zephyrian anatomy, making a sound that could only be described as oof. Then, impossibly, he laughed. Kira, who had been watching from behind a pillar, made a sound that hadn't been heard in the palace for 3 years. A tiny giggle. The sound stopped everyone within 100 meters. Palace guards froze. Servants dropped their implements. Queen Insia's bioluminescent patches flared so brightly that the automatic light sensors dimmed the corridor lighting. Barris, still tangled in his lifter's safety cables, looked up at Kira with genuine surprise. "Oh, hey there, little one." Did that look as ridiculous as it felt? Kira nodded, her young mandibles attempting something that resembled a smile. "Good," Barris said, finally extricating himself. "I was worried I might have to practice my graceful falling technique." Over the following weeks, something extraordinary began to unfold. Barris treated the royal children not as precious artifacts to be protected or political assets to be exploited, but as curious young beings who happened to live in a very fancy house. He answered their questions about human biology with scientific accuracy and complete absurdity in equal measure. "Humans only have 2 eyes?" asked Prince Zex, the eldest. "Yep, makes it really hard to see what's sneaking up behind us. That's why we invented mirrors and paranoia." "What's paranoia?" asked Princess Luna. "It's when you're convinced everyone's plotting against you even when they're just trying to mop the floor." The children found this hysterical. The concept of beings so poorly designed that they needed technology to see properly, yet somehow confident enough to joke about their own inadequacies, was revolutionary. Queen Insia observed these interactions with growing bewilderment. Her children were laughing. More than that, they were asking questions again, exploring, playing games that involved more than silent geometric perfection. The breakthrough came during the Festival of Distant Suns. Traditionally, it was a somber occasion where the royal family would stand in formal reception, accepting gifts and tributes while maintaining perfect diplomatic composure. This year, as Insia prepared her children for the ceremony, she found them clustered around Barris in the service corridor. "But why do you humans celebrate birthdays?" Princess Vera was asking. "You know you're closer to death." "That's exactly why we celebrate. Barris replied, adjusting a malfunctioning servo in the wall panel. Every year we don't die is worth a party. Plus cake. What's cake? Sweet food that makes you happy for no logical reason. Prince Zex's patches flickered with curiosity. Could we make cake? What followed was perhaps the most chaotic afternoon in the palace's 1,000-year history. The royal kitchen became a war zone of flour, primitive human measuring implements, and 7 young Zephyrians learning that some of the best experiences in life involved making enormous messes while creating something wonderful. When Queen Insia found them, covered in batter and laughing so hard that the palace's emotional sensors triggered the earthquake protocols, she stopped in the doorway. Her children, her traumatized, withdrawn, carefully guarded children, were being children. Barris looked up from where he was helping Kira crack eggs with entirely the wrong technique. Oh, hey, Your Majesty. We're making a structural analysis of processed grain products. You're making cake, Insia said. That too. She watched as her youngest daughter threw flour in the air and giggled as it settled in her hair. She saw her eldest son teaching the human the proper way to blend ingredients while learning human curse words in return. She observed her middle children engaged in what could only be described as a food fight of the most dignified sort. For the first time in 3 years, Queen Insia's bioluminescent patterns shifted to warm gold, the color of joy. Barris, she said quietly. Yes, Your Majesty? Why? He paused in his egg-cracking instruction, considering the question seriously. Because they're kids. Kids should laugh. Universe is scary enough when you're grown up. Most beings seek to gain something from proximity to power. Barris shrugged, a gesture that never failed to fascinate the Zephyrians. I got proximity to people. That's enough. That evening, as the children presented their structurally questionable but emotionally perfect cake to the assembled dignitaries, Queen Insia made an announcement that would echo through diplomatic circles for decades. This human has given my children something that all our advanced technology, all our carefully planned security measures, all our political alliances could not provide. He gave them their childhood back, and he asked for nothing in return but the opportunity to clean our toilets. The assembled ambassadors were scandalized, the children were delighted, and somewhere in the service levels, a human janitor continued humming off-key while fixing a broken air recycler, completely unaware that he had just redefined interspecies relations. Sometimes the most profound revolutions begin with the simple act of treating someone as if they matter, not for what they represent, but for who they are. And sometimes, the greatest gift you can give a child is permission to laugh at the absurdity of existence while making cake.